Hey everyone, Rocky Maimone here. I want to invite you all to meet my lovely children. Mena Maimone and Peter Maimone are going to be joining me on June 3rd at 7 p.m. We've had so many questions from clients and Facebook people with young children, teenage children. They're not sure how the move's going to affect them. Well, that's what June 3rd is all about. Peter, my son, was only 14 years old when we moved. Mena was in her early 20s. And as a family, we're going to go through and answer a lot of live questions and really help you to understand what the process looks like. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to get a lot of information. See you then. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with my two babies. My name is Rocky Maimone, and I'm the Senior Business Manager at Maimone Legal. Hit it.
Hi, I'm attorney Philomena Maimone. You can call me Mena, CEO and founder of Maimone Legal.
And I'm Peter Maimone. I'm the Senior Business Plan Writer here at Maimone Legal, and I'm little brother and son.
Okay, so we're here today because we went through the process of moving from Canada to Florida. And I know that a lot of families are in this transitionary period or thinking about it or maybe halfway through. And oftentimes, we find out that you're concerned about your kids. And absolutely, that was one of my biggest concerns too. But I thought today we would just have a nice conversation from our family to yours for us to discuss some of your concerns and what our experience was with coming down. So about 8 years ago, Mena and I decided we were going to move to Florida. Peter was,
I think,
14 years old, about to start grade 10, so in his first year of high school. And both my husband and Peter thought that Mena and I were insane. And so we start looking into it, and Mena and I are like, yes, yes, yes. And the boys were, no, no, no. My husband, because he was just about to embark on a new business adventure that he had already committed some funds to that we were going to lose. And Peter, why were you concerned?
Well, I mean, for me, I had my best friend, Luke, in Canada, who I'm still in touch with. We still talk almost every day. Mm-hmm. So I had my friends there, that was my world. So I had never really been to Florida. I had been, but I didn't remember it well. So I wasn't sure what we were getting ourselves into. I didn't know about making friends. So I was scared and I wanted to hold on to my friendships in Canada.
Yeah, and then we decided we were going to come down for a 2-week trip. The first week was terrible because we didn't have anyone to guide us. We didn't go to a realtor.
Yeah, we were just driving.
These guys weren't here yet. John and I came down. And I remember the last day of that first week, just before the kids were going to come down, John and I are having breakfast. And I said to him, John, I can't move to Florida. And he goes, thank God. Me too. Everything's weird.
Yeah.
The houses are weird. Everything's strange. And I said, okay, you know what? We're on the same page. Tomorrow the kids are going to come. Let's enjoy the vacation. We have a day booked with the realtor. Let's go anyway. And see what happens. So he's like, okay. So kids come down. I meet with the realtor, who's a good friend now. Her name is Janice. And I said, Janice, here's what we want. I want to walk to the beach. I want to be able to stumble home from happy hour if I have a couple too many margaritas. And I want a really good high school for my son. And she's like, I know exactly where to take you. So she prepares a tour at Cardinal Gibbons High School. It's a beautiful Catholic high school, and we later on ended up buying a house literally 8 doors away from the school.
Yeah.
And in Canada, Peter was on a bus an hour each way to school in the winter.
I would sleep on the way to school because I had to get up so early. And when I got there, I would sleep on my backpack, and I would have the pattern of my backpack on my face, and I would in a puddle of drool.
Yeah.
Every morning.
So we said, you know what? Let's give the kid a really good experience. Let's get it right by the school. Okay, so we pack up our things, and I'll never forget when we left.
Yeah, it was weird.
So Luke, who's like a son to me, is on the driveway watching us drive away.
Yeah.
He made us a portrait with all of the pictures.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And he was crying.
Yes, I was crying too.
Peter was crying. And I'm thinking, what a bad mother. What have I done to my child? I ripped him away from his best friend.
Yeah.
And I said to Pete, you know what, Pete? We're going to try it, right? If it's terrible, we'll pack up and go home.
Go home, yeah.
And you were a good sport. You said, okay, Mom.
I was willing to give it a shot. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in our new life. We're in Fort Lauderdale. First month of school was tough.
Yeah, it was a bit of an adjustment period. Living so close to the school was amazing because all of my friends lived close to the school. So I was now, as opposed to in Canada where, that guy's 30 minutes away, that guy's 40 minutes away. I have to drive there, drive here. It was like I could ride my bike to my friend's house. I could walk to the nearby park and meet them there. But it was definitely an adjustment period. There were some differences. In the academics between Canada and Florida, which I had to get acquainted with. Not too bad, but just a few little things that would have been nice to know.
But that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
That's
what are those things?
Yeah, for example, like there are different kinds of classes like honors classes and AP classes. There are different levels of classes to get acquainted with, whereas in Canada, I think they call it
advanced in
general. And here it's called honors and AP, which is a level above honors. And then I didn't know what a GPA was. So I was like, what's a GPA? So I was like, it's a number that represents your grade. I didn't understand that. But, my teachers and the people especially at Cardinal Gibbons, with a fantastic high school, really helped me out. And I was able to ask some questions that to them seemed a little dumb, but they aren't. But
what about your high school experience?
Yeah, let me get into that. So socially, it was completely different from Canada in an amazing way. So I'm sure you've seen movies of the American high school where they have the football, it's football night and they have the drum band and everyone goes to the football games, like high school football games. And, even alumni, like you'll see middle-aged people there who went to the high school decades ago. So I always thought that was fiction. It's not.
Me too.
It's true. So I think it was every Wednesday night there was a football game and there's a ton of people there and there's they have hot dogs and if you're older you can get a beer. It's just a good time. Everyone's out there every week to support the football team.
Homecoming
It's
parties.
just, So high school, there's no comparison to Canada in terms of the social experience. I made an absolutely amazing group of friends who I went to college with. I'm still friends with all of them. We see each other at least a couple times a week.
Let's talk about college.
Yeah, and then college is just
tell them about the scholarship that you won.
Yeah. So one thing that's really great in Florida is it's called Bright Futures. It's a scholarship that's available to any permanent resident in Florida. And it's meant to help keep talent in state. So it has hard requirements. So for example, a certain GPA, you need a 3.5 GPA, which is like a mixture of A's and B's, and a certain ACT or SAT scores, which are standardized tests that everyone is required to take before they go to college.
I have a question. Can you get it while you're on your E2 or on a student visa?
Yes, absolutely. As long as you're a permanent resident of Florida.
Well, it's not permanent. You just have to be a resident.
A resident of Florida, sorry.
I took care of the paperwork.
Yeah, I
that's
wasn't
clear.
as involved
He just
on
got
that
the
part.
scholarship.
Anyway, so if you work hard in high school and you do well on your standardized tests, there are two levels. You can either get 50% of your tuition covered in college or 100% of your tuition covered. I was able to achieve the 100% Bright Future scholarship, so 100% of my tuition was covered. And on top of that, I also got an academic scholarship to FSU, which meant that I got paid to go to school.
Love it. Yeah.
And that's available to everybody. College is unbelievable here. I mean, the opportunities, especially if you're an athlete, it doesn't compare to Canada. There's it's almost as big as the NFL, college football. And similar with other college sports, college basketball, it's as big as the major leagues. College was a really interesting experience. It's similar to what I was saying. It's like the movies.
Mhm.
So there's huge football stadiums. There's fraternities and sororities. I joined a fraternity, which was a wonderful experience. I was able to make a lot of friends, a lot of connections. The experience as a high schooler and a college student was nothing compared to what I would have gotten in Canada. It was difficult at the start, adjusting, maybe a couple months, learning some new terminology. But other than that, the people here are welcoming. They love Canadians. I was known as the Canadian guy at my high school. And I just had a fantastic time. And I got opportunities that I never would have gotten in Canada. And I met way more people different people than I ever would have met in Canada. So it's probably the best thing that I've ever done. And it was worth all of the trouble and all of the adjustment. It was all worth it.
You remember the time you came into the kitchen? I was sitting at the kitchen counter, and you came up to me and you said, "You know what, Ma? You've had some crazy ideas in the past, but the best one you ever had was
moving to Florida."
And then another time you sent me, your frat was having a party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the beach day where they bring all the sand at the frat house.
Yeah.
Everyone's party. You sent me a video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what you said at the bottom of the video?
Thank God we moved to Florida.
No, you said, "Thank you, Mom, for moving us to Florida."
Yeah.
And then the other thing that would happen all the time was every time we'd walk out of the house, you'd go, "Oh, what a nice day."
Yeah, every day is a nice day.
And then one day you're like, "I think I should stop saying that because it's every day." Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, you're welcome.
When we moved to Florida, Mena wasn't as young.
No, I was 23 years old, so I didn't qualify under their visa. Any efforts that they made to get a green card, I wasn't part of, so I had to go on my own. And so at first, I decided that I wanted out. I was like, I'm getting out, I'm leaving before you. Actually, funny enough, we just drove by my first business that I ever bought when I came to Florida to get an E2. And as we drove by, I said to my mom, "Can you believe how far we've come? You know, it's been 8 years and I don't even recognize this place. Like, it feels like an old me, right?"
Right.
So I had to buy a business, which wasn't fun because I picked I didn't know what I was doing. I had no one guiding me. I went there and I was like, "You didn't come."
I tried, she wouldn't listen.
She didn't come on my visit to the business. So I just ended up buying a business that I thought was suitable. And I spent about 8 months regretting that decision. I had to go in every day and make sandwiches. And at some point I was like, what did I do? And I started to meet a lot of attorneys because it was an office building cafe. So attorneys would come down from their office to have lunch. And I started asking them, "Where did you go to law school? Was it hard? What did you do? How long did it take?" I started asking them questions. And one day I said, "You know what? I'm going to sell this place because it's not for me. And I'm going to go to law school." So I remember that day when I told you guys, you were very supportive. You were like, "Yes, you have to do it." At some points I was like, "I don't know, I'm not sure." And they kept pushing me, do it, it's going to be worth it. So I ended up getting into Nova, which is here in Davie. And unfortunately, I was the part of the pandemic. So in 2019, I started law school. I only had 1 semester of law school. But I have to say, if I stayed in Canada, I would not be an attorney today. It was extremely competitive. There was no way of getting in with the LSAT score that I got. And a lot of LSAT scores that people get are not enough to go to a law school in Ontario or in Canada. Not enough spots. So I was really lucky to have that opportunity. Despite it being during the COVID years, I still earned my degree. I made a really good friend, Robert, who's now part of our team as well. And I was able to pass the Florida bar. And then I went to Rocky, Mama here, and I said, let's start a firm, because we went through so many hard times coming here, not knowing what we were doing, not having the proper guidance, that it just felt right to offer that service to others wanting to take the same steps.
And here we are.
And here we are today.
We're 11 minutes from her old cafe. We timed it today.
And I said, I wish I had known, that I would be 11 minutes away from my future firm. Because if I had known that, I wouldn't have let all the little things bother me.
Right.
I wouldn't have worried about the small stuff.
But life's like that. Sometimes
is.
you have to go through those little steps to get
It just
to your
means
final destination.
you have to have faith and you have to trust in yourself that you're going to make the right decisions, and that I believe that, you know, your decisions are protected by something above, maybe.
The universe?
The universe. So I believe everything happens for a reason. And if you're looking to move with your family, but you're scared, take the leap of faith. Life is a leap of faith. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it ends up being worth it in the end. I can promise you that.
Well, you know, as a parent, you always want to make sure you're making the right choices. Most of the time, not for us, but for them. And, you know, I had a very good life in Canada. I was 48 years old when I moved. I owned an assisted living facility. I was good, financially good. I could have spent the rest of my life there. I don't know what happened. Mena and I came to Florida, and it was almost like a calling. And then when I did the math, what am I doing here? This doesn't make any sense. And at first I was like, dear God, please especially for him, because you were a little guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mena had made an adult decision to come to Florida as well. So I was really concerned. Am I making the right choices? I hope I didn't rip him away from his best friend. You know, all these, and kids don't get it. They don't know. It's like when we force you to eat broccoli, or, you know, you have a bedtime.
They don't know what's good for
Sometimes
them.
as a parent, you just have to do what you feel is right.
You know, it's a little difficult.
And, you know, we have a saying at home. We always say, we wish we were Pete, which means we wish we had come down. Watching you go through high school and the fun and the learning, it was like a movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so happy that I was able to give that to you. And then when you went to college and you were having a great time and you were learning, you were part of a frat, all the things I had grown up seeing in a movie. Are you going to get...
Yeah, you're going to make me cry.
Me too. It just made me feel so good as your mom that I was able to do that for you.
I know.
I sacrificed a little, I think we all did, but for good reason. And then when I look at Mena and what you've become and what you've done with the schooling and with this opportunity, I'm happy. Like, my heart is full. And then the gift that God gave us, when I look at the position that I've been put in today, that I have the two of you, that your lives are great, that you're going forward, and that I'm able to help other families, other moms, other dads who are in the same position for a better life for their families, I feel blessed every day.
It is a blessing.
I absolutely love to come to work. We have a great team here,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't ask for anything more.
We found our calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to all of you who are watching, we hope that, you know, you'll make the right choices for your family. You need to feel it in your heart. But like Mena said, sometimes you got to go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. So if you're comfortable and you're happy where you are, then, you know, God bless, stay there. If you feel that you want to try this, I always said to everyone, I wasn't going to fight on enemy lines. I was going to Florida. And if at the end it didn't turn out, pack up the car. We have a second home in Florida, and we could always go back. So if you trust in your journey, we're here to guide you. I wish we had us. It would have really helped the situation, but our family is here to help you and your family. Thank you for listening and watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.